Hello guys, Axe here once again, and I want to introduce a new segment on my channel, and I call this one Megamix Games Showcase and Commentary. Yes, the new part is and commentary. It's basically just like Megamix Game Showcase, but not only I'm gonna showcase the game, but this time I'll be giving my personal thoughts as a commentary on the game, maybe additional info. So I'm gonna explain that on the main video why I'm trying this new format. And don't worry, I'll still do the original version Megamix Game Showcase without a commentary because the whole point of of those showcases is to showcase the game for gamers alike, whether you're new or not, if you're into retro gaming or not, or virtual console, you want to know if the game's good or not, you can see additional video on it. I mean, there are tons, but I'm also just want to give my contribution and help the gaming community. So, also for this first episode, I use a live feed. So basically, I'm using my camcorder, just recording on the TV, and when I looked at the video, the camera tends to focus itself because once in a while it gets blurry every time it changes to a different scenery. So basically, I just want to warn people when you start watching this that the gameplay footage might get blurry once in a while because the camcorder needs to refocus. So I want to apologize for that one. So I mean, it's still watchable, and of course, my commentary is really clear. But like I said, once in a while, when this game screen changes, it tends to blur out, and the camera has to catch up and refocus. So I just want to let you know about that one. So with that, watch this first experiment of Megamix Game Showcase and Commentary. Hello guys, Axe here once again, and this one's gonna be I'm gonna try something different, a different approach on for my Megamix game showcase. And as you can see, this is actually a live feed, so you can see my hands, you can see my TV here. So this is a live feed rather than direct because, well, like I just I don't have really the proper materials for it. so this is gonna be a different one. I guess I can call this Megamix Game Showcase and Commentary. Basically, I'm gonna showcase the game, but this time I'm adding in some commentary in it, like giving my thoughts about a game. The idea came from one of my friends when he was watching my videos. He said, "How come you don't do commentary on your showcases?" And I said, I don't know. The whole point was just to show what the game is, so people either buy the game or not. But it's sometimes give some backstory information rather than just a description. So I said, all right, I'll try this. So for now, I'm using my camcorder, my nice TV here, and my PS3. So anyway. So what am I going to showcase for my first ever Megamix game showcase and commentary? Well, this is an old classic game, and this is from 2001, and it's called, if you can see this right here, Capcom versus SNK Pro for the PlayStation. Remember, the PS3 can play PlayStation 1 game, not 2, but 1. Here's the back cover. Remember the PlayStation cover, instead of in the Blu-ray disc cover, it's a CD. You put the manual here in a CD case sleeve and design inside here. Oh my goodness, 1990 stuff. The games of the 32-bit era. So anyway, Capcom versus SNK Pro. The backstory here is that unless you're an old school fighting game community, this is one of the best games. Capcom and SNK. What happened if they duke it out in a fight? So there you go. You got the cash from Capcom versus SNK. And starting in 2000, both Capcom and SNK made the game. And the backstory of the deal was both Capcom and SNK are required to develop at least 2 games. It doesn't matter what medium, what media it is, what system is it for, as long they have to do 2 games. That's what the contract is. Capcom, of course, did Capcom versus SNK, and then they made an upgrade version for the Dreamcast in the PSOne, which is Pro, by adding in 2 new characters. I'll explain that later. And then, of course, Capcom vs. SNK 2, Mark of the Millennium 2001. And for SNK, they did SNK vs. Capcom Millennium of the Fight 2000 for the Neo Geo Pocket. And maybe in the future I'll probably do a showcase on Neo Geo Pocket. I did already, I think, 2 showcase game, and I actually did a showcase on SNK vs. Capcom for the Neo Geo Pocket. I'll probably put that in the description. It's going to be in the description, the link. So they did that one. And another one, maybe in the near future, I'll also do this showcase called SNK vs. Capcom. SNK's version of Capcom vs. SNK, unfortunately, it really wasn't that good. And I mean, I was still a fan of SNK on support. I really wanted that game. But what happened was that in the PS2 era, it was originally going to be ported to the PS2, but SNK decided not to, made it an Xbox exclusive, because the reason is it was a price issue, and it got me upset about it. And when I emailed SNK saying if there's any way to bring it to the PS2, and they just said nope, no chance. They never did. And a lot of the fans who are a PS2 owner but as an SNK fan, they were upset. And then of course they did rectify that in 2007, because by then the PS3 was out. So they did bring in a lot of SNK game for $15, but that's gonna be another story. So anyway, let's start this showcase. Capcom versus SNK Pro. So here we go. Booting up, like always. So again, let me just recap this. A backstory for people who probably didn't listen to my other video about backwards compatibility. PS3, the reason they got rid of it was to cut costs. So the slim one and the newer version one, the top loader, they're compatible with PS1 game, but not PS2 game. And also a backstory, your disc form and your digital form of PS1 game, they're not compatible. I know it's stupid. I don't know what happened. Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I heard, that say you have a save file from your disc version of Final Fantasy VII, trying to play the digital version, it's not going to work. So here's Capcom's intro. It's FMV. I mean, the game is really big, it's powerful. It's supposed to be like PS2 graphic, and it is interesting they put it in the PS1. I mean, if you've seen this in arcade, I can guarantee you it looks nice. Right now, it is just in the FMV, excuse me, VMV. And there you go, they're hyping out Capcom vs. SNK. And if you notice, it's King of Fighter 94, it's Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's basically the roster, so I'll show that. There, 2000. The game wasn't bad, but the problem is the problem with the game was it was also underdeveloped. They just put in a lot of character. It's mostly cut and paste, but the sprite for the SNK were, I think, that's the mainly developed part. But in the part for Capcom, I think not so much. But alright, well, let's go. So you see here, you got a lot of this option: arcade mode versus to play with your friend, couch co-op. Pair mode is basically big two fighter versus two fighter, and I'll explain that later on. Why? Because they did something different in this one. Price mode is basically your store. You just buy extra characters and I think extra characters in gallery. Training mode to train, like always. Every fighting game on the home console always have a training mode. Color edit mode, of course. Edit your character, make them have montage color, like put Ryu with blue and light blue, so he'll be Mega Man Ryu or something. Option and memory card when you save your game. So I'm gonna start with arcade. I'm gonna pick arcade mode here, just like the arcade. Load times, gotta love them. I don't mind it, but if the load times really long, that's bad. So you get two groups, Capcom or SNK. It's basically based on Street Fighter Alpha, or SNK, basically King of 94. Alright, if you notice, there's like different ratios for characters are like the boss characters. They're powerful, ratio to them well balanced. And ratio ones are weak, but they're supposed to be fast. Alright, let's Turbo. And one of the weird things they did was they put the ratio system. It basically depends on the ratio. You can have either a 2 team, even a 1 team, 1 member team, 2 member team, or 3, or even 4. But then they have to add up to ratio total of 4. So since both Kyo and Ryu are ratio 2, so 2 plus 2 there equals 4. That's the catch. So if I pick, like, say Sakura, Blanca, Benimaru, and Kami, they're all ratio 1, so I get 4 characters. But the downside is they are weak. Ratio 2s are basically well-balanced characters, and most of them are the main character, like Ryu, Ken, Iori, and Kyo. And then ratio 3s are basically your boss characters, such as the Shadowloo people, and, well, the boss from SNK. Yeah, I just beat up Mai. No, I guess the next was Chun-Li. See, most of the sprites are based on Street Fighter Alpha 2, except for Ryu and Ken, and the original sprite for the SNK characters. Really nice. And it's also vice versa with SNK versus Capcom Chaos. Ah, really? There. SNK's version is basically based on King of 94 or 95. You hold down 2 buttons to charge up your super, and then once it fills up, you have that match. You can do a super, just like that. There you go, super finish. Yeah, besides PlayStation, this was also in a Dreamcast, and if you have a Dreamcast, I highly recommend buying it. From what I heard, it's pretty good. It's actually, the graphics is much better. And of course, if you have a PS3, heck, buy Capcom vs. SNK 2 Mark of the Millennium 2001. It's on the PSN as a digital download for $10. So, if you notice there, you just missed it. My opponents are a bunch of ratio 1 character. That's what they're for. So it's 2 against 4. But again, the weakness is they're weak. That's what ratio 1. It depends on the ratio. Your stamina don't have a lot of stamina versus the ratio 2. And if you're a ratio 3, you got a lot of stamina, but like a boss character. Yeah, you.
easy to beat them. But again, you can always turn it around. I mean, oh, that's not fair. Like ratio versus a ratio 2. Of course, ratio 1 character is going to lose. Not necessarily. If you play your cards right, you can turn it around. But then, of course, in SNK versus Capcom versus SNK 2, excuse me, they changed that. Now you can customize your own ratio. But this one you couldn't, and that was one of the weaknesses. Could not do a fireball. Yeah, I don't play with the fighting stick. I just play with my usual PS2 controller or PS3. I talked about that in the blog, that I just prefer the pad over fighting stick. Oh, that was horrible. And also, if you notice, except for everyone else, Ryu, Ken, and Akuma, and even Dan to some extent, have different sprite. They're not using their Street Fighter Alpha sprite. Alright, there we go. Benimaru is known for really doing, he has like a high jump. Alright, let's see if I can connect. And I failed. So just like in King Fighter 94 or 95, if your health bar is flashing, that means you can do infinite times of super move. There, SNK's version of Ryu. And for the artist, if you don't know what happened to him, I think now he's officially working for Capcom. I mean, the first thing he did was Capcom Fighting Evolution. And then if you see the cover for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you see his style is there in the cover. Oh, and also Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Really kind of interesting. And if you wonder why, I think it has something to do when SNK filed for bankruptcy and the company actually went out of business. So he was hired by Capcom, so now he's doing Capcom. And for some reason, wait a minute, SNK is still alive. Yeah, now it is. But before, when the original SNK, they filed for bankruptcy, they were gone. The guy who owned it created his own company called Playmore. And then later on, he bought back SNK, and then he created SNK Playmore. And if you guys wondering, does SNK still make games? Well, as of right now, I think mobile game, Steam. I know Metal Slug 3 is on Steam for $7 or $8. I don't know. I might be wrong. And they were doing a lot of mobile games. And one of the big games, of course, they did was King of Fighters 13. That was the last big game. So are they going to do any more big games? I don't know. But as of now, they're just doing mobile games in Steam. And here, if you notice, there it is, Yujin Yamazaki, one of the boss characters in Fatal Fury 3. He's a Ratio 3. So he's super powerful. He's sort of powerful because, again, boss character makes sense. Yeah, he was also in SNK, or excuse me, King of Fighter series, besides Fatal Fury 3. He debuted in '97 with Blue Mary and Billy Kane. They called themselves, I think, the '97 team. I can't really remember what they're called. Here, when my life bar is flashing and I have a full meter, they do like a super, like a actual ultra version of the super move. Oh yeah, and I keep failing. Ah, trying to be fancy, that's what happens when you're being fancy. So this is what SNK or Capcom versus SNK is. Capcom's version was actually good. The unfortunate part is that a lot of people in agreement is that SNK versus Capcom Chaos is a obligated game, which basically means they just had to do the game because of the contract rule, and it came out not good. It had some good characters. It had Mega Man Zero. Yes, from the GBA Mega Man Zero game. Surprisingly, Red Devil was there, and some interesting. Dimitri was also there, and some characters, and some even unique character for SNK. They had Athena from the classic game Athena, when she's just wearing a goddess bikini, and Mars Alien from Metal Slug series. So, I mean, they had some unique characters in it, but unfortunately, like I said, I only barely saw it in arcades, and I never had an Xbox, so I never had a chance to play it. And too bad it wasn't also, too bad that the 360 is not backwards compatible with it, so that kind of failed. .360 wasn't compatible with Capcom or SNK versus Capcom. I'm sorry, I keep mixing the two. SNK versus Capcom Chaos. It would be nice, but it wasn't. So. Oh man, really. Ah, fireballs. Everybody's favorite fireball. There you go, super move. Yeah, well, that's SNK versus Capcom, or Capcom versus SNK Pro. I do sorry about the confusion. It's just so confusing. I don't know why. It's Capcom versus SNK Pro. So that's what the game's about. It was a good game. And I hope you like this first ever Megamix game showcase and commentary. I might do more about this, but maybe in the long run. Maybe I'll do once in a while too, but I want to see what it looks like first. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and don't worry, more Megamix game show is gonna come also. Mine's the commentary, but I might do this again in the future. So thanks for listening. So with that, that's it for now. Bye.
Hello guys, Axe here once again, and I want to introduce a new segment for my channel, and I call this one Megamix Game Showcase and Commentary. Yes, the new thing is is new comment. Dang it! Son of a bitch.